Welcome custom card fans, my name is Aurora and I'm here to present Archetype Spotlight. This ongoing series will see a spotlight shined on some of the hundreds of custom strategies, archetypes and support that you can find on the server. We'll explore the beloved and the forgotten, the barely viable and the meta defining, the decks that make EXU, well, EXU. Oh boy, do I love playing extra deck, not extra deck, .deck, because this week we'll be taking a look at Dome Dread's Animathos. Anemaphos is... it's a deck, that's for sure. It's composed of dual-type light monsters that send their archetypal fusion monsters to the graveyard, and then those fusion monsters can essentially contact fuse from the graveyard and summon themselves, then banishing themselves when they leave the field. This works its way around several extra deck locks, perhaps the best circumvented being that of the Dogmatica cards. These famously extra deck phobic spellcasters have some very strong pieces of interaction that Animathos can take full advantage of, whilst not being bothered by the inability to summon from their extra deck. In addition, Animathos' lack of reliance on the normal summon gives it the ability to incorporate a variety of engines, such as Invoked or Adventurer. Animathos has had a rich competitive history since its relatively recent introduction. Its first result was in Battleground 17 and a second place finish, playing both Invoked and Dogmatica as complementary engines. Its next build was used to take second place again at Battlegrounds 18, this time using Popping Prowess as its catalyst. The deck at the time was very generic, and due to its extra deck locks, was a perfect fit for Animathos to squeeze in. Its most recent top was in 5th place at Battlegrounds 19, playing Slash Assault mode as a shell with the very strong Psy Reflector package. I've taken most of my inspiration from the first list, though with a few changes that the new ban list accommodates. Here's the list, and I think it looks really competent. We'll start off with the Anemaphos monsters in the main deck, which are dual type and share the following effect. You can reveal this card in your hand, send an Anemaphos fusion from the extra deck to the graveyard, then summon this card. After using this effect on any Animathos, you are cordially not invited to the annual extra deck party, and you cannot visit their awesome disco with Keanu Reeves for the rest of the turn. They also all have a secondary effect when sent from the field to the graveyard. Haste is a fairy and a fiend, and it sends any fusion monster from the extra deck to the graveyard. Wisdom is a fairy and a spellcaster, and adds an Anemaphos spell, and Responsibility is a fairy and a beast warrior that adds an Animathos monster. Together, these three cards create a strong shell for the Animathos fusions to fit into. I'm choosing to play 3 of each, since seeing as many of them as possible is paramount in my opinion. The other main deck card of this archetype I'm playing is a search target for Wisdom, that being pure Animathos. It's a quick play spell that sends an Animathos fusion monster from the extra deck to the graveyard and summons a token, and can then banish itself from the graveyard to revive an Animathos while you have a large quantity of fusions in the graveyard. Speaking of the Animathos fusions, we start with Anemaphos Anger, a level 6 fairy fiend. Every Animathos fusion monster is summoned from the graveyard by tributing the materials it requires from the field, banishes itself when it leaves the field, and gains 200 attack for each fusion monster that's banished or in the graveyards. Anger in particular has an extra attack, and can reborn a banished fusion monster if it destroys a monster by battle. Justice is a level 7 fairy spellcaster that targets a card on each field, and then forces the owner of each card to either send a fusion from the extra deck to the graveyard, or send that targeted card to the graveyard. Courage is a level 8 fairy beast warrior that deals piercing and can banish a fusion from the graveyard to protect a card from being destroyed. And then there's Strength. He's level 10, requires a fusion monster as a secondary material as opposed to the warrior he's dual typed with, and he gains his attack boost to all your monsters that you control, so they all gain 200 for every fusion, making something like Anger or Courage a significant offensive threat. He's an Omni-Negate by banishing 2 fusions from the graveyard, and he can recycle any number of banished fusions when he's banished, recurring all of your used monsters. Outside of the Animathos cards, there are very few non-TCG cards in this list. The biggest of these is Acrimonia, which is essentially just a search spell for dual-type monsters. While this is usually cut down on in other builds, usually in favour of something like Fire Formation Tenki for access to Responsibility and parts of other engines like Popping Prowess and Assault mode, in this list, I feel it's a really good way to access any of the main deck monsters, which is something I really want to do. Our first engine is Invoked. As is obvious, playing Alistair the Invoker at 3 per the new ban list, alongside the newly limited Magical Meltdown, and then 1 copy apiece of Invocation and Invocation Magnus. This is essentially a quick play Invocation. Its recursion effect is mirrored to that of Invocation, and it can make some pretty hefty beaters. The fusions we're playing with this are Macabre, Algiades, and Caliga for negation, removal, and a delicious, exquisite Gordon Ramsay chef kiss floodgate potential card. We're also naturally playing 1 Artemis the Magistus Moon Maiden as an easy way to access a light for the invoked Mechaba summon. After that are the Dogmatic cards. 3 Ecclesia the Virtuous, 1 Fleur-de-Lis the Knighted, and 1 Maximus for extra deck dumping, all searchable through Nadir Servant, newly limited. 2 copies of Dogmatica Punishment for a searchable removal option, which helps strengthen the deck considerably, and the pair of Titanic Lads in the extra deck to round out the Dogmatica package. Everything else in the deck are staples. 3 Ash, 3 Crow for making easier access to Caliga, and 3 Infinite Impermanents are our hand traps of choice. Pot of Desires is our prime piece of consistency due to the other pots, Prosperity, Extravagance, and Duality, not synergizing with the deck nearly as well. Since it's not a combo deck, there are hardly any one-off combo pieces that we banish with it. 1 Change of Heart is our 40th slot, simply because it's newly released on the list and I want to try it out. Our generic sends in the extra deck are a pair of Untisses for a just very strong removal option, and Aurora, Wings of Resonant Life, as a advantage generator. This side is the classic EXU sideboard. 3 Lancia for banished decks, 3 Droll for searching decks, 3 Nibiru for summon decks, and 3 a piece of Lightning Storm and evenly matched for going second. With all of that out of the way, let's see how this deck fares in a match. Okay, so this is a match between me on Dogmatica and Lyris on Meta. Sword Soul Tenyi. When I say meta, I mean it's actually meta for pretty much nobody. So it would be really embarrassing if I lost this match, wouldn't it? Clueless. Well, this hand is absolute garbage, and this hand is pretty much everything they could ask for. I mean, well, Taya Longyuan is pretty much everything they could ask for. Invocation on its own is pretty bad. I think we can all agree that. And not drawing a single Anemathos card is also pretty bad. So we're going to start out by normal summoning Ecclesia. Use Ecclesia to search for Fleur-de-Lis. Set the Imperm, set the Punishment, and pass the turn. Because what else can we do? We can't do anything else. I love playing Dogmatica Engine. They're going to draw for turn, and it's Imperm. That's not going to do anything for them. They're going to start off with a Blind Cosmic, paying 1,000, and it's going to banish this Imperm. So I guess that's like the best thing that they could be banishing, at least. They're going to special summon the Sathana from the hand, and then they're going to link Toph into a copy of a Monk of the Tenyi. Then we're going to use the Monk of the Tenyi's effect. No, not the Monk of the... What am I talking about? Monk of the Tenyi. Yeah, let's use Monk of the Tenyi's effect. That's my favorite effect to activate, by the way. I adore activating Monk of the Tenyi. We're then going to activate Fleur-de-Lis the Knighted in the hand, just so that we can negate this, gorgeous attire. Then we're going to see the Summit get discarded to special summon the Longyuan, and I'm essentially just trying to keep them off of tuners at this point so that I can stay alive. Popping the token, sending the Untis, and then activating the Untis in order to pop the Tyar. I think popping the Tyar there is probably a big mistake, because now we're going to see a Shaman of the Tenyi. Damn, I forgot this game loss was actually my fault. Yeah, I should have just popped the, Actually, it doesn't matter. Never mind, ignore me. Yeah, we're going to special summon back the Tyar, and then we're going to, yeah, and then we're going to banish the Sacred Summit, summon a token, go into a Draco Berserkers of the Tenyi, and let's be honest, that's pretty much just the end of the game. We're going to Ash the Tyar like it matters. the Berserker of the Draka Berserkers of the Tenyi is going to pop the Fleur-de-Lis. I'm going to take 4,000 from this attack, but Ecclesia is not destroyed by monsters that were summoned from the extra deck. And then I'm going to take another 100 for the Shaman, and the turn is going to get passed. Need any good card here, and unfortunately, while Anemathos Responsibility is a very good card, in the face of a Draka Berserker of the Tenyi, it does nothing. Here we can only change this card to defense position and hope that Lyris has no way to out the Ecclesia until I remember Shaman of the Tenyi has an effect, and we will just quickly scoop up the game. Oh, that wasn't my fault. Literally, that game loss was not my fault. If I drew the Responsibility in the open, I think I just won the game on the spot. Okay, so game 2. We're going to go first again, and we see that Lyris has once again drawn a hand of absolute crack cocaine. Luckily, so have we. We've drawn a very good hand here. We're going to activate the effect of Anemaphos Haste to begin with, revealing it, and then sending an Anemaphos Anger from the extra deck to the graveyard in order to special summon it. Then we'll normal summon the Ecclesia the Virtuous and trigger its effect in order to add from the deck to the hand the Dogmatic Punishment, not adding the Fleur-de-Lis here, since by the time we're done with this combo, we're not going to have a Dogmatica monster on the field in order to gain a negate with the Fleur-de-Lis. We're then going to trigger the Haste in the graveyard, sending a Aurora, Resonant Wings of Life, I believe, so that we can then trigger it and then draw a card. I don't think this was out when Dome was making his Dogmatica Anemathos invoked list for BG17, I think it was. It's been like 4 days since I recorded the start of this video. I haven't been able to get a duel in that time. So, yeah. I think this was released after that, so that would be the reason why it's not in that topping list. We're going to draw the card. It's going to be DD Crow, and then we're going to pass the turn. Lyris is going to once again blind Cosmic Cyclone, and it once again is going to hit the Infinite Permanence. She drew Tyre for turn. I love this game. She's going to activate Ember cards, revealing the Tyre and the Dragon Cycle. We're going to ash that because it shuffles them back for cost, and that's just going to neg her entirely. She's going to activate the Sword Soul Emergence, adding the Tyre back to the hand, and then just going to normal summon the Tyre, and then on summon we're going to activate DD Crow to get rid of the last card in the graveyard that could be a target for it. In hindsight, just punishment it. Literally just punishment it. There is no reason why you would not just punishment this Tyre here. And the Dragon Cycle here is going to be the exact reason why we should have just punishmented it. They're going to search for Ashuna and then use the effect of the Ashuna in order to special summon itself from the hand. No, they're not. They're going to save it for the next turn. We're going to draw, and it's Invocation. I love playing Invoked. Love playing Invoked. Oh yeah, did I mention that I'm only playing one of this card? I even sided out Magnus. I also sided out Maximus, and what did I think I sided out Maximus, Magnus, and Dogmatica Maximus. Or Magnus, sorry, yeah, that's it. Oh, and a Pot of Desires. Because to side in 3 copies of Lancia to block exactly Tyre, since Tyre is really annoying. We're just going to go attack directly with the Anger, forgetting entirely that Anger can attack twice. So Lyris really should be on 2,000 life points here, but it really doesn't matter too much. She's going to activate the off-the-top fucking Reborn spell. I love this game. Summon back Tyre. We're going to punishment the Tyre like we should have done the first time, sending a Titaniclad to the graveyard, thinking, oh yeah, we can just go to Titaniclad, and then we can trigger it to summon a Maximus. Where's the Maximus? I'll give you a second to figure it out. If you while Lyris does cringe Sword Soul Tenyi combos, I'll give you a second to realize where is the Maximus right now. Where is Dogmatica Maximus? Where could Dogmatica Maximus possibly be? This is an interesting question, isn't it? Let's just take a couple of minutes to think about where the Maximus could be. Let's get like the dun 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 dun. It's going to be the next question on my pub quiz. Where is Dogmatica Maximus? Went to the shops to get some milk and never came back. Anyway, we're doing Sword Soul combos. We're going to go Tyre from the graveyard and summon a token. We're going to summon a Draca Berserkers. And I was waiting for this Draca Berserkers because we have Change of Heart. Broken one-offs, baby. Let's go. Change of Heart, best deck. We're sending the Sathana here, and I still really don't think Sathana is the correct end. But you know what? It's fine. It just forces us to destroy Lyricist monsters in a slightly different way. We're going to get this Anger popped, and we're going to lose 5,600 life points. That's completely fine. We're then going to trigger the Titanoclad in the end phase, and we're just going to realize, no Maximus. But they do have a Monk of the Tenyi in attack position. And one thing that does particularly well against about getting over multiple monsters is Draca Berserker of the Tenyi. It'd be very nice if I could have my own. So we're just going to summon the biggest beater in our deck, which is this wonderful Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis the Knighted. We're going to draw into Alistair, and then we're going to go straight to main phase and very eagerly summon this Draca Berserker. And then we're going to realize that we sided out Magnus. And so we're going to not do anything with Alistair. Here, I think it would have been very funny to banish the DD Crow and summon a Kaliga, because... or even just banish the Tenyi to summon a Kaliga, but it really doesn't matter. We're just going to banish these ones, summon a Mechaba, and just do all the Mechaba stuff. Invocation goes back into the deck, and we're going to add Alistair back to hand. We're going to go end of main, go Draca Berserkers into the Shaman of the Tenyi, and then it's going to gain the attack of the Shaman of the Tenyi, and then beat over the Monk of the Tenyi, and we're just going to win the game by doing easy lethal. Alright, game 3, and this is a really, really good hand, apart from the fact that we did not draw, I think, exactly Nibiru. What did I side into? I think I sided out of all of the Lanciers, then sided into 3 Nib, 3 Evenly, 3 Lightning Storm, and I did not draw a single one. Great. Love it. Oh, literally molding. And you know what? Shall we just fast forward this? I think we know what Sword Soul Tenyi combos are. This hand ends on Barone, and it ends on Chixiao, and it ends on loads of stuff. We're gonna ash the emergence like it matters because Lyris has call by. Just gonna go for the Tyre into a Chixiao, and send the Sathana off of the Tyre, search a Tyre, go into Long Yuan, go into Baron de Fleur, banish to summon the thing from hand, thing from deck. Summon the things, go for the thing, discard, summon the thing, but nothing happens because we're not discarding because we have Ash in hand. We're just gonna go top deck evenly. You know, just because we want to. That will draw out the Baron negate at least, and then we're going to trigger the Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis, Dogmatica Ecclesia the Virtuous, and then summon it, and then bait the Chixiao, I hope. Nope. Honestly, would have been better for Lyris if she activated the Chixiao here, because then she would have been able to go for the Ash Blossom and Joy Spring on the Acrimonia. So Acrimonia here is going to search for responsibility, and luckily Chixiao does absolutely nothing against any Anemathos card, apart from the fusions. So we're going to trigger responsibility, and we're going to send from the extra deck to the graveyard a Anemathos Justice, and then we're going to special summon it from the hand. I'd love to be able to go for a big Anemathos fusion here, and then beat over the Chixiao so that I could then do my plays uninterrupted in main phase 2, but if you remember, we unfortunately drew the worst of our board breakers in this instance. And in reality, this deck should probably be playing Dark Ruler no more instead of Lightning Storm. Anyway, we're going to be then activating Pure Anemathos, sending the Anemathos Strength from the extra deck to the graveyard, and summoning the responsibility, and we're going to decide that having an Anemathos name on the field is more important than having a Ecclesia on the field, and sending both it and responsibility to the graveyard in order to summon a Justice. We're then going to trigger the responsibility in the graveyard to search for a Anemathos Haste, and then we're going to go for the effect of Justice, targeting the Chixiao and my token, so that forces out the Chixiao, and we're going to have our Justice negated, Then we're going to trigger the haste in the hand, special summoning it from the hand in defense position by summoning an Anger to the graveyard, then fusing it with the Justice in order to summon a Strength, trigger the haste, and send a copy of Untitled to the graveyard, because if it just goes to our opponent's turn, then she will just Barondaflow my Strength, and that does absolutely nothing good for me. So we're going to pop this. We're then going to set the invocation as a bluff, end of main, and we're going to pass the turn, and Lyris is going to draw Cross out, which is nothing but fodder for a Shaman discard. Lyris is going to first of all trigger the Chi in order to negate the Strength, and we're just going to let that occur because, quite honestly, I want fusions in my graveyard. I want fusions in my graveyard so that I can then activate Pure Animathos to Reborn. This is really, really just dire circumstances. Shaman of the 10 Years effect is going to trigger, discarding the Cross out and special summoning back the Monk. Then we're going to activate the effect of Atara in the graveyard in order to add back the Ashuna. Since we now control a non-effect monster, we can now activate the Ashuna, banishing it from the hand in order to special summon a Vishuddha from the deck. Then we're going to link 4 using the Vishuddha, the Monk, and the Shaman in order to summon the Sahasrara. Sahasrara's effect is going to activate to special summon a token with the same original attack as my Strength, which is currently its current attack because it is no longer being boosted since its effect is negated. Vishuddha's effect is going to activate in the graveyard, banishing it in order to bounce the Strength. Obviously, Strength will still banish itself since its own effect on where it goes after the after it would be sent to the graveyard or removed from the field, override what another card would do, and we're going to shuffle back this Justice into the extra deck by using Strength's effect. Then Lyris is going to end the main and beat over our token with Chi, and then beat him for 6,000 with the Sahasrara and the Sahasrara's token. Is it just a 10-Yi token? 10-Yi Spirit token. Literal 10-Yi monster. We're going to go draw phase, and that might just do it. Anemaphos Wisdom's effect is going to activate in the hand, sending from the extra deck to the graveyard of Justice and special summoning itself in the hand. And now it's time for the biggest misplay of this series so far, as I pure Animathos for haste. Sorry. My apologies. Literally making the wrong plays making me ill. Worst play of the entire game. Because we could have summoned responsibility and done exactly the same thing. So we're going to send them to the grave. The argument was we can then haste in order to send a Untis. But we unfortunately can't actually target the Chi because we can't target an effect monster because of Sahasrara. So we're going to have to immediately pop the token, and then we're going to trigger the Justice to target our face down in the token, which is then going to get negated by the Chi. I think we're just going to, we're just going to defeat. Oh my goodness. Oh. In reality, did it matter too much that I special summoned haste as opposed to responsibility? Probably not. Although it would have put me in a winning position to out the Chi and the token, which would have been winning against the Sahasrara negated by Strength, though it would have relied on Lyris' top deck being absolute dog water. Overall, I think Animathos really has a place in the meta, as long as you don't brick and draw the one-off invocation every single game, and also as long as you actually draw Animathos cards, like game 1. That'll be it for today's Archetype Spotlight. Please be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, tell us what you thought down in the comments, and subscribe if you want to see more content. Remember to turn on the notification bell as well, so you won't miss a single upload. There's a link down in the description to join our Discord server, where you too can explore the vast array of cards we have to offer, play competitively or casually, and chat with other custom card creators around the world. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.